AITA for throwing my sister's clothes in the pool after she ruined my fiancé's dress? I am 27 years old, and I am deeply embarrassed by Kayla's behavior. Lily was already very stressed about meeting my large family. She comes from a small family and is rather reserved. She speaks little and gets easily anxious in social situations. Before meeting everyone, she worried she would not be liked. But I reassured her. To give you some context, I worked overseas for 5 years, and that is how I met Lily. She is originally from the country where I worked. It was a colleague's sister who introduced us, and the moment I saw her, I was completely captivated. Her beauty, her intelligence, her calmness, she was different from all the women I had met before. We took our time at first because she is very reserved. But once we got to know each other, everything became easy. We were together for 3 years before getting engaged. I met her family, which only consists of her parents and her brother, but on her side, she had only met my parents until recently. This month was the first time she met my whole family, even though we already got married in her home country and are now planning a ceremony here in the United States. She was extremely nervous, but I had promised her that they would love her. Upon her arrival, everyone wanted to spend time with her and ask her 1,000 questions. My 4 siblings were very involved. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters aged 15, 18, 24, and 30. Plus, my grandparents live with us in our large suburban home. My family is large, loud, and full of pride. And yes, I love them, but they can be a bit much. Before Lily met them, I asked them to do their best to make her feel comfortable. No inappropriate jokes or excessive teasing. I grew up in a family where pranks are common. It is our way of showing affection. But I know that is not the case for everyone. So, I specifically asked my younger siblings to hold back with Lily. She is very sensitive and could interpret a joke as hostility. I have no idea what went through Kayla's head when she thought it was funny to throw Lily's wedding dress into the backyard pool. I was in a work video call when I heard screaming outside. I had almost never heard Lily raise her voice. So it really alarmed me. I thought something serious had happened. So, I ran outside to find Lily, red with anger, yelling at my sister. Words I never imagined hearing come out of Lily's mouth. She was asking her how she could be so thoughtless and telling her that she had ruined everything. I was in shock. It was clearly very serious. A few moments later, the rest of the family came out to see what was happening, and that is when I saw the white dress floating in the pool. My heart stopped. I immediately understood that Kayla had crossed a serious line. Of all the things she could have done, this was the worst. Seriously, throwing a wedding dress in a pool for a laugh? I completely understood Lily's reaction. My mother finally came out and tried to calm the situation. When she asked what happened, Lily, with tears rolling down her cheeks, pointed to the dress in the water. Even my mother was shocked and asked Kayla if she had lost her mind. Kayla simply said it is just water, no need to make a drama out of it. Except it was not just water, it was chlorinated water. I do not know much about wedding dresses, but I am pretty sure it is very bad for the fabric. My mother's horrified look confirmed it. She told Kayla that she was wrong and that she needed to apologize to Lily. Kayla then asked why she was the one who had to apologize, saying that Lily had overreacted. She even went as far as saying that Lily should apologize for treating her so harshly. Kayla started crying as if she were the victim. I could not believe it. My poor future wife had just seen her wedding dress damaged, and that was the real issue here, not Kayla's hurt feelings. But I decided to take care of Lily first. I pulled her away from the scene and comforted her. We got the dress out of the water, and my parents took it to the dry cleaner. They think it can be saved. I really hope so, because the wedding is in less than 1 week. Lily loves this dress very much, and if she cannot wear it, we might have to postpone the wedding. It would be a huge setback, especially since we have to return to her home country very soon. Since then, Lily has not spoken to me much. She just cries. She is visibly traumatized by what happened, and I feel terribly guilty. I have been clear with my siblings, though. No jokes, no provocation. But Kayla did whatever she wanted. And honestly, it was not even a joke. It was a direct attack on Lily. I do not understand what Kayla found funny about it. I have not had the chance to talk to her yet, but I discussed it with my parents. I told them that Kayla would have to apologize. I do not care that she was hurt by Lily's words. She deserved them. She is 18 years old. She is not a child anymore. She should know what is acceptable or not. Damaging someone else's personal property can lead to legal trouble. Lily could file a report against her. And if the dress cannot be saved, I fully intend to stop paying for her private school tuition to help cover the cost of another one. I wanted to confront Kayla, but my parents are protecting her, saying that she has had a difficult year and that she is probably acting this way because of it. So, I told them that it is their role to help her manage her emotions. They need to support her so she learns to cope with her stress in a healthy way, because destroying a bride's dress is clearly not the solution. Did she really think Lily would laugh about it? The worst part? Kayla told Lily to jump into the pool to get the dress back. She even offered to give her a hand. Literally, the sister I knew would never have been so insensitive. It was incredibly thoughtless. I do not know if it was a personal attack against Lily or if Kayla is just mean, but I am furious. I had promised Lily she would have a good time here, and look what happened. My sister ruined her dress, and now, every time I meet Lily's eyes, I do not know what to say. I swore to love and protect her at all costs. And yet, I failed to do so. Our parents forbid me from speaking to Kayla to force her to apologize. So now, I am going to fulfill my duty as a husband. If I cannot force the one who made her cry to apologize, I will at least make my position clear to her. I gave Kayla one night to think about what she did. I sent her a clear message. She needed to apologize first thing in the morning and pray that the dress was salvageable. Otherwise, she was going to discover a side of me she has never seen. I do not care if she is my little sister. She crossed the line, and at her age, she should be aware of it. Anyway, I will keep you updated as soon as I decide what to do next. Update 1. 2 days later, I have an update. I took some time to read your comments and decided not to be too hard on Kayla. I thought it would be better to give her a chance to apologize to Lily while we waited for news from the dry cleaner. The next morning, Kayla came down for breakfast as if nothing had happened. I thought she would pull Lily aside to talk to her, but no. They ignored each other. At least there was no more yelling. When I realized that Kayla had no intention of apologizing, I went to speak to her directly. I told her that I was extremely disappointed by her behavior. I reminded her that we were not raised like that and that she needed to do better. I explained that she had not only hurt Lily, but me too, and that her actions could have serious consequences if the dress could not be repaired in time. Her response left me speechless. She accused me of only thinking about the wedding and not her feelings, saying she felt inferior when Lily yelled at her, and asked me how I could let my future wife put her down like that. I told her that it was only the consequence of her own actions. She had managed to push someone as calm as Lily to her breaking point, and that damaging a wedding dress was extremely cruel. But no matter how much I tried to make her see reason, Kayla only got more upset. I felt my own anger rising. So, I left before saying something I would regret. As if that was not enough, Lily returned from the dry cleaner shortly after, looking devastated. She handed me the dress and went straight into our room without a word. When I took the dress out of the bag, I could not believe my eyes. It was beyond repair, and it broke my heart knowing I could do nothing to ease Lily's pain. And the worst part, Kayla still had not apologized. At that moment, I felt like a failure to Lily, but I had an idea. Since Kayla did not understand why what she did was so serious, I figured it was up to me to show her. Without saying a word, I went to her room, took all her clothes off their hangers, and threw them into the pool. Then I went about my day as if nothing happened. 10 minutes later, Kayla started screaming. I did not even go see what was happening because I already knew. Lily wanted to look, but I stopped her at first. When she asked me what was going on, I told her that now Kayla knew what it felt like to see something precious end up in the pool. Now she would understand that treating other people's belongings like that is not just a joke. Lily could not believe what she was hearing and told me she really wanted to see. So she ran to the window to watch. Kayla was completely distraught, crying and screaming. I, on the other hand, felt a deep calm and a certain satisfaction. She wanted to play stupid games, while she won an equally stupid prize. Kayla could have apologized when she had the chance, but she preferred to hide behind our parents' protection, believing she was untouchable. Well, now, she knows that is not the case. There will probably be retaliation from my parents after this, but honestly, I do not care. They failed to discipline her. So, as a big brother, I felt it was my place to step in. Hopefully, she will learn to respect other people's property next time. Update 2. 2 days later, I am back with the update everyone has been waiting for. 2 days have passed since I threw Kayla's clothes in the pool, and let me tell you, The drama has not stopped. After discovering her clothes floating in the water, Kayla threw a massive fit. She immediately suspected Lily and rushed to our door, pounding on it. When Lily opened it, Kayla tried to get physical with her, but Lily, being faster and stronger, stepped aside easily, and Kayla ended up on the floor. I could not help but ask her if she was not tired of constantly making a fool of herself. Why was she so angry now? Was she not the one who said it was just pool water? At that point, she called Lily some nasty names and told her she could not take a joke. That is when I stepped in to clarify that Lily had nothing to do with it. I was the one who had thrown her clothes in the pool. Kayla left the room furious. A few minutes later, I received a message from my mother asking me to come see her. So I went to her room, where both my parents were waiting for me, visibly upset. They asked me how I could act like that. They said that Kayla was just a child and did not realize what she was doing, whereas I, as an adult, should have handled the situation differently. Why did I have to throw her clothes in the pool? They claimed they were handling the situation and working on getting Kayla to apologize, even if it took time. I told them I was not going to sit around waiting and begging for an apology. The best way to teach her was to make her feel what Lily had felt. Besides, had they even thought about what Lily was going to wear for the wedding now? They downplayed the situation, saying we could just rent a dress from a bridal shop, that it was not that big of a deal. I then burst out laughing and told them that what was no longer a big deal now was me paying for Kayla's private school tuition. They were stunned. My father asked me if I was not overreacting, wondering why such a thing should compromise Kayla's education. I explained that the situation had escalated because they constantly defended Kayla, refusing to discipline her. Despite everything that happened, my mother accused me of making drastic decisions just because of a woman, reminding me that family should come first, that we had always been there for each other. I replied that Lily was now part of the family too, which meant they had to support her as well. Letting Kayla humiliate her without consequences was not an option. First, it was the dress, but what would be next? If we did not act now, she would continue to disrespect Lily. I told them they needed to pay more attention to Kayla, as her behavior was clearly a cry for help. There was something she was trying to tell them, and they were missing it. With that, I left them in shock. For 2 days, I have been arguing non-stop with my parents about this, and honestly, I am exhausted. I will not change my mind. There is no way I will continue to fund the schooling of such a disrespectful girl. She made her choice. Now she will have to face the consequences. If she wants to stay in her private school, she will have to earn the money herself. I will keep you updated if anything changes, but for now, that is where we stand. Update 3. 1 day later, a day has passed, and I wanted to share some important news. After Lily's dress was ruined, I contacted an old friend who is a wedding dress designer and explained the situation to him. I offered him a substantial sum to see if he could recreate or save the dress. For a week, he has been working tirelessly on it. I am thrilled to announce that Lily now has a wedding dress. These past few days have been trying. Lily had resigned herself to wearing a rental dress that she liked, but she felt it was not really her style, unlike her original dress. Today, when I presented her with the finished dress, she was absolutely overjoyed. I have not seen her wear it yet since I have to wait for the wedding day, which is in less than 48 hours. But I am beyond happy that my friend was able to do this and take a huge weight off her shoulders. Unfortunately, my family will not be attending the wedding. My parents are angry with me for throwing Kayla's clothes into the pool and for stopping the payments for her private school tuition. I had been paying her private school tuition for a while. She had repeated a year at her old school. So, I enrolled her in a small private school at her request because she thought their teaching method would help her more. I could afford it because my job overseas pays well, which is not the case for my parents. Her grades improved, but her attitude left me speechless. I will not continue to fund this private school after what she did to Lily. She will go back to a public school, and frankly, I do not care if her grades suffer. My parents tried multiple times to change my mind, but I stand firm. They are furious because they think I am putting Lily above them. And yes, I am prioritizing my wife, not only because she is my wife, but because it is a matter of principle. Lily almost had the most important day of her life ruined by Kayla's thoughtless actions. Anyone would be furious facing Kayla's behavior, and maybe I would have forgiven her if she had a shred of decency and apologized. But instead, she continues to act like a spoiled child with a level of arrogance I had never seen in her. This is not the Kayla I grew up with. Maybe she has always been mischievous, but this level of disrespect is new and I will not tolerate it. She needs a good lesson, otherwise she will have a very hard life in the real world. If she can disrespect her sister-in-law like that, what is stopping her from disrespecting her future employers? And they will not be as forgiving as I have been. Her behavior must be corrected now, otherwise she will face much harsher consequences later. Growing up, our family played jokes, but we knew our limits and respected others. Lily is new to our family, and she does not have to adapt to Kayla's pranks. Lily had to step out of her usual character and say things she never would have said. All of this because of Kayla's actions. That is why I am so angry and why my family will not be coming to the wedding. That is where we are at, and I am fully prepared to move forward, even without my family's support. Update 4. 1 week later, my wedding took place a few days ago, and I am thrilled to say that everything went perfectly. I had informed the security team in advance that my parents and Kayla were not allowed to attend the ceremony. Since my older brother and older sister were not involved in the drama, they were welcome and they both supported my decision. They recognized that Kayla was entirely in the wrong and that my reaction was justified. My parents refused to let my little brother come, so only my 2 older siblings were present. During the wedding, I gave a brief excuse to justify my parents' absence. I do not know if the guests ended up finding out the real reason, but honestly, I do not care. Before the wedding, Lily and I had already left the family home. When I told my parents they could not attend the wedding, they warned me I would regret it, saying I had overreacted to something that could have been handled within the family. But I was open to talking on the condition that Kayla took responsibility. However, my parents continued to excuse her behavior, and I did not want any negativity on our wedding day. Lily had already been through a lot, meeting my large family, dealing with a disrespectful sister-in-law, and almost losing her wedding dress. At this point, she probably has no desire to deal with my family anymore, while my parents continue wanting to protect Kayla from the consequences of her actions. That is why I took my dear Lily, and we stayed at a hotel. I did not reply to my mother's message trying to change my mind. I was clear, as long as there is no apology from Kayla, I am not interested. The best part of all this is that I married the love of my life. Lily looked beautiful in her wedding dress, and when she walked down the aisle, my heart almost stopped. I could not believe how lucky I was to marry her. Her smile showed that she felt beautiful in her dress. After the wedding, we spent a few days at the hotel before returning to her home country. I have not forgiven my parents for taking Kayla's side, so I stopped paying her private school tuition. Since my parents cannot afford to pay for the school, and Kayla probably does not qualify for a scholarship, she will have to go back to a public school in a few weeks. Maybe then she will take the time to reflect and realize her mistake. If she offers a sincere apology to Lily, she might be forgiven. Lily is far more compassionate than I am. She simply wants Kayla to own up to her actions, but I am not holding my breath. For now, I am focusing on our honeymoon. We are having an incredible time, and I do not want it to end. It feels like we are in a bubble that nothing can burst. We decided to leave everything that happened in my country behind us and focus on our future. I have truly found my partner, someone to build a life with, and I am excited for what lies ahead. We look forward to starting a family one day, and we are determined to raise our children with respect and a sense of responsibility. 2 things severely lacking in my own family. Update 5. 1 year later, a lot has happened since the incident with my sister Kayla and my parents. It was clearly a cry for help from Kayla, a way of seeking attention through pranks and the attitude of a spoiled girl. Nothing that happened this year surprised me because it is exactly what I predicted to my parents. I told them the problem would not fix itself, that if they did not set clear boundaries and establish discipline, things would only get worse. But they chose leniency, refusing to see that Kayla is no longer a child. What is most alarming is that at her age, she still has not finished high school, and she does not seem to want to do it anytime soon. My parents, in their desire to protect her, never wanted to impose real consequences on her. To them, she is still their little girl, even though she is grown enough to make decisions and therefore face the consequences. After I stopped funding her private education, my parents tried to get financial help from my other siblings, but as expected, none of them could afford to pay for a private school for Kayla. So she had to enroll in a public school, which my parents consider a tragedy. Some will surely say I am a bad brother for not helping with Kayla's education, But I firmly believe that raising a child is primarily the parent's responsibility. I only wanted to help when I could, thinking it might contribute to her growth, but I had no intention of continuing to pay for an education that, ultimately, only made her more spoiled and dependent. The transition to public school was anything but a rewarding experience for Kayla. She did not like the environment or the change of setting. Deep down, I think this change could have been an opportunity for her to mature, face new experiences, and learn to adapt. It was a challenge that, with a little effort, could have helped her build resilience. But instead of making an effort to adapt, Kayla collapsed. Her grades plummeted, and over time, she started skipping classes regularly. Eventually, she stopped going to school altogether, convinced that life is too hard for her and that making an effort is not worth it. The most ironic part is that she did not even really try. She just decided, just like that school and studying were not for her. My other siblings keep me updated on the situation. They say Kayla is going through a phase of resigned rebellion, stubbornly clinging to the idea that the world owes her something, as if effort and commitment were burdens she should not have to bear. My parents, instead of trying to talk to her or push her to reconsider her decision, have adopted an attitude of complacency. Kayla does not seem concerned about what she is going to do with her life now either, and this indifference is beyond me. Maybe my parents are simply exhausted after raising so many children and chose a much more lax approach with Kayla. But I remember back in my day, they were much stricter with me and my older siblings. Kayla's situation no longer has easy solutions. She is an adult now, and ultimately, she has the right to make her own choices, even if those choices lead her toward a more difficult future. My parents allowed Kayla to adopt this spoiled and irresponsible behavior, and it is no longer my job to force her to change. However, what worries me now is my little brother. I do not want him to grow up seeing Kayla's example and thinking it is acceptable to live without effort, without discipline, or without responsibilities. I fear that my parents are so focused on Kayla that they forget they still have another child at home, a boy who still needs guidance and structure to become a responsible adult. That is why I asked my siblings to look out for him, to visit him as often as possible to support him the best they can. I will also try to travel back as much as possible and make regular video calls with him, but I cannot do much more from a distance. I know my little sister will eventually realize her mistake. Maybe not in a few weeks, maybe in 10 years, but she will eventually realize that life owes her nothing and that she alone has to put in the necessary effort. I just hope it will not be too late for her. For now, that is all I can say about my family. Update 6. 2 years later, I suppose it is time to give you some news about my family. To start, there is good news regarding my little brother. He moved out of our parents' house and enrolled in college. And I am proud to see that all our efforts to guide him and provide a healthier environment have paid off. He is nothing like Kayla. On the contrary, he is focused and determined to build a future for himself. As for Kayla, after a series of odd jobs here and there, she seems to have saved up a bit of money and moved out of the family home. Since then, we have not heard much from her because she cut ties with the entire family. She already had not spoken to me for a while, but now she is not even in touch with our other siblings. We know she is doing okay because she still uses social media and posts pictures from time to time. She never specifies where she is, just some vague sentences about surviving life, as if she is living some sort of solitary adventure away from everyone with no intention of returning. My parents are devastated, or at least that is what my siblings tell me, because Kayla somewhat abandoned them. I had warned them though, but they never wanted to believe it. Now, they have to face the consequences of raising a spoiled girl, as they still call her. It was inevitable, and we were tired of warning them. Comment: this story really made me stop and think. I believe protecting the person you love sometimes means making tough but necessary choices. Setting clear boundaries is a true way of honoring your own worth. We all deserve to be treated with kindness and respect by those closest to us. True responsibility includes holding people accountable when they cross the line. Choosing to heal and seek peace can be one of the most important decisions we ever make. I hope you take a moment to consider the relationships in your life right now. You have every right to expect and create an environment filled with mutual respect. Never forget that your peace and happiness are worth fighting for. Thank you for being here with me, and I would love to read what this story meant to you in the comments. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.